All life, from microbial life to insects to worms to birds, plants, animals, trees, human beings, over 80%, 85% of the life is sustained by this 39 inches of topsoil. One immediate thing that needs to be attended to is the soil degradation. I was at one of the UN agencies, they asked me, Sadhguru, what are the three things that we must act upon immediately? I said the three things are soil, soil and soil. Because the soil degradation is doing biodiversity loss at a pace that we cannot replace. If this continues for another 30 to 40 years, then the losses that will happen to us is incalculable. We have never seen anything like that. Those kind of things will happen. Probably first it will happen in tropical lands, most probably. We could be wrong, but most probably it could happen in tropical lands. So people who are living in temperate climates think it is not going to affect them. Anyway, others are going to die, that'll make it easy for them to go and conquer those lands or exploit those resources or whatever. These thoughts are there in people's minds, unfortunately, because they want land minus the people. There are many ambitious people who are thinking on those lines. So, soil is one thing. There are on an average, there is about 39 inches of topsoil. This soil in the last 50 years' time had degraded phenomenally simply because it's not under shade, there is no vegetation, everything is plowed and farmed or constructed upon. So if we do not take care of the soil health, the richness of the soil will directly determine the richness of our lives, because this body is just the soil that we walk upon. This body is not different from the soil that we walk upon. All life, from microbial life to insects to worms to birds, plants, animals, trees, human beings, over 85% of the life is sustained by this 39 inches of topsoil. If we take care of this as an emergency measure, other things can be addressed, it'll give us time to address other things. But if soil degradation happens and desertification happens across the world, then all these other things like, air pollution, water pollution, these things can be dealt with very quickly with policy changes and a determined effort. Within a few years you can fix it. But soil regeneration will not happen in a few years, it's a long-term process. If we start now, in 25 years we can have a richer planet, soil-wise. And that will lead to richer life on the planet, biodiversity on the planet, because human beings need to understand worms, insects, birds, animals, trees, everybody has a role to play in our life. If tomorrow morning all the microbes disappear, the life will end right now. If all the worms disappear, in about 1.5 to 2 years, life will end. If all the insects disappear, in 4 to 6 years, life will end. But if all of us human beings disappear, planet will flourish. We must understand what is our role here, what is the significance of our presence here.
Yeah. I expected an answer on consciousness from you.
See, human consciousness is very important if you want to fix any of these things. This is not going to happen without this. As a part of this, we've started a movement called Conscious Planet. All of you who are in this leadership process must join this thing. We want you to own this movement, because this is not my individual movement or not my organization's movement. This has to be owned by everybody. The idea is to make at least 60% of the voting population in the world conscious as to what are the 5 things that must happen in their countries, what are the 2-3 things that should never happen in their countries. We are working on this. We are trying to bring in all the world's political parties in the democratic countries to be part of it, to make sure in every nation, on the election manifestos of every political party, at least the number 2 item must always be ecology. If this happens, then policies will change, budgets will come in, government machinery will fall behind it, only then there's a real solution. Otherwise, you and me can talk as much as we want. Without government machinery, budgets and policy changes happening, there's no real change.
For these difficult COVID times, you started an initiative. You already talked about your inner engineering course, and I promise you I will do the last 4 chapters as well. And you have a free offer for…
You must do a practice called Isha Kriya, which is available on the app itself, free for everybody. You and your friends should do this because this will give you a little space between you and your mind, so that your physiological and psychological dimensions of life will come under your control. It's very, very important to do that.
Yeah.
If you have a good car, you must be a good driver too, otherwise it'll be a mess. Is it?